What's crack-lacking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So we're talking receivers. We're doing this all before the combine next week. I want to put out these rankings, these revision of my rankings for the 2020 NFL draft just before the combine, because a lot's going to change, especially with the receiver, depending on how these guys run, how they perform. So I'm giving you a top 30. So we're going to try to speed through this, but a couple of before we get into that, become a bro and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. So a couple of guys that didn't make the list that are literally, I'll just go through. My 31 is Austin Mack. I got Kalijah Lipscomb at 32, James Prochet at 33, and Omar Bayless at 34. Just a couple of guys that were really close, but just didn't make the cut. On to 21 through 30, yeah. And we got Joe Reed out of Virginia sitting here at 30. He plays like he's 6'5", 225, despite being only 6'1", 215. He's very good with his body control, and he'll be a very good red zone threat with his speed and playmaking ability. He's going to be a pretty good returner for special teams, at least early on while he develops as a route runner. And then I got Javon Johnson out of Oregon. He's got a very big frame at 6'4", 231. He won't win downfield, but he's good at creating space on the short to intermediate routes, though he's not going to produce much after the catch. He does lack starting experience, and he may be limited as a route runner just because, you know, Oregon's simplistic scheme. There we go. You know, they love their screenplays. Gabriel Davis out of Central Florida. Davis, he's one of the best downfield targets in this draft. He's still very raw as a route runner, and he has got a very limited route tree. I could probably count the amount of routes he can run on one hand. I'm not joking, because well, Central Florida, they run a very simple offense, really just slants, goes, posts, stuff like that. So I'm not going to fault his decision for declaring early, because I don't think there was really, he wasn't going to develop as a route runner there at Central Florida by staying another year. I think it was a better decision coming out and learning to become a better route runner under a NFL coaching staff. Now, at 6'3", 212, like I said, the guy's a speedster. His hands are really good, and I mean, we saw the potential when he destroyed Stanford's Paulson Adebo, who's likely going to be a first-round pick in next year's draft. On to 27, Aaron Parker out of Rhode Island. Parker and his fellow Rhode Island receiver, Isaiah Butler, they're going to be attending the combine next week. Now, it's going to be very important for Parker, and I'll get into that in a minute, but the guy, he's a very accomplished receiver. He has over 216 receptions there, going for over 3,400 yards, 30 touchdowns. He's expected to run a 4.6, but if he can get into the low 4.5s, this guy, he can raise his stock a ton. On to 26, being Courtney Davis at Texas A&M. For someone who's actually 200 pounds, he doesn't really handle contact very well, and it really throws off his rhythm in routes. Still, there is a lot to like when it comes to his quickness, his release, his speed. It's just a matter of putting all that stuff together. And then I got Quintez Cephas out of Wisconsin, a guy that's very interesting. He's slowly climbing up a lot of boards. He's a very smooth route runner. He's got oven mitts for hands, very soft hands. The ball just right in there, you know what I'm saying? Now, his biggest, I think his biggest game happened to be his last game, that bowl game against Oregon. He utterly destroyed Oregon, but the guy's never seen consistent volume there at Wisconsin because they're a very run-heavy team. But still, this guy, he's going to be going up draft boards. Few red flags. He isn't the best at separating, but he uses his body very well to create space for throws. A potential character red flag comes from assault charge. It cost him his 2018 season, but it's important to say the dude was found not guilty, but it will be something teams will ask there at the combine. Donovan Peoples-Jones coming here at 24, good size, 6'2", 208, but I think he's overhyped in my opinion. I'm just going to say that. I don't even think he was the best receiver there at Michigan. That goes to Nico Collins, who will be coming out in 2021. And the guy, he's a former 5-star recruit. I feel like his pedigree is really what has him high on boards rather than his actual play. He was consistently plagued by drops, and he struggled after the catch in small areas. The dude, he struggled to separate in the intermediate levels, but he can create that separation on posts and goes. So, you know, the longer routes, the routes that take more time to develop, that's where he'll really get separation. I'm not saying he's a bad prospect. I'm just saying he's overhyped. And then Chase Claypool coming here at 23, and I still think it's a great idea for him to convert to tight end. I don't see him winning on the outside, especially not at the line of scrimmage. He didn't look great at one-on-ones there at the Senior Bowl. He struggles with separation, but he has a huge frame, 6'4", 230. I mean, honestly, in a league that's so desperate to find the next Travis Kelce and Greg Kittle, I think it would be very smart for him to bulk up 10, 15 pounds and throw his hat in this tight end class. It's not a great tight end class, and there's no real true front runner. I'm just saying, I think it would be a smart decision. And then Lynn Bowden Jr. out of Kentucky coming here at 22. Very interesting prospect. He's still a bit raw as a route runner, and it really didn't help that Kentucky needed him to play quarterback this year. I really think it really would have helped him a ton if he just got to play receiver, you know? But there's no denying, this guy's a playmaker with the ball in his hands. At 6'1", 200 pounds, I don't think it's a bad idea if he actually converts to running back. I think that would actually be pretty ideal for him. And then I got Devin Duvernay out of Texas. Not bad size. Guy's 5'11", 202, so it's all right. He's great speed. Great speed. He can win downfield or after the catch. Dude doesn't drop the ball either. However, you can tell this guy's still developing as a route runner. You saw that at the Senior Bowl as well. But after the catch, the dude's a monster, and you can kind of tell that because 42 of his 106 catches were off design screenplays. So that's why he's a developmental prospect at this point for me. On to 20 through 11. Let's go over Brian Edwards out of South Carolina. Edwards, very athletic for being 6'3", 215, and he might have some of the best hand usage at the line of scrimmage in this draft. He actually uses that to create a lot of space for him, but he cannot keep that separation downfield. He's just not that fast. He's not that quick. The guy, his average depth of target was 8 yards there at South Carolina. I mean, you could put that a little bit on the quarterback play as well there. But almost half of his catches were designed screens, so there are a bit of red flags when it comes to that. Colin Johnson out of Texas here at 19, and honestly, he's probably just this high because of his size. He's 6'6", 221, and he uses his body really, really well. He's going to be a really good red zone target in the NFL, and he's really good at the catch point at that, but doesn't have great speed, and he really struggles to get really any sort of separation, but really good that he's pretty decent at contested catches because that might be his bread and butter at the next level. John Hightower at Boise State coming in at 18. Very light for being 6'2". The dude's under 180 pounds. Hightower, though, he is, at least his role early on in the NFL will just be blow the top off defenses. I mean, he's kind of exactly what NFL teams are kind of looking for now. He's got great acceleration. He won consistently against press coverage at the line of scrimmage this past season. Yes, he'll take time to develop, and he should try to put on some weight, but teams will like that downfield ability. And then 17, Isaiah Higgins out of Oregon State. One of my favorite prospects actually in this draft. He's got very good ball skills. He's got a very good catch radius, a very wide one, and he's great at creating windows for his quarterback to make those throws. He's not great at separation though. He's very slow to get off the line of scrimmage, and what I think is going to be beneficial for him, I think he's going to be another one of these guys that can benefit from teams that really love big slot corners, and I think that's where he's going to thrive in the NFL. At 16, Antonio Gandy Golden out of Liberty. Great size, 6'4", 220, and he's got some pretty good straight line speed. And you know, he's an above average separator, so I think I'm not going to say he's going to get overdrafted because I would I would take a late 3rd round pick to take this guy. But I don't know, he might go a little higher than that for some teams. Played well against Power 5 competition the few times he actually got a chance to face those guys this season. But you know what? He went to the Senior Bowl. He looked like he belonged. I really like him as a prospect. Van Jefferson out of Florida. Coming here at 15, guy just blew up at the Senior Bowl. Really helped him out immensely. I assumed this guy was going to be a late day 3 pick because I really thought I only saw him valuable as a special teamer. But I mean, dude showed he was a tremendous route runner. I mean, that probably stems from his dad's a wide receiver coach, so kind of makes sense. However, he doesn't offer much after the catch. He struggles against physical defenders, but he does demonstrate the ability to be a reliable short to intermediate target, basically a consistent chain mover. And then KJ Hill coming in here at number 14 at Ohio State. Another guy that really was helped out by the Senior Bowl. He had this reputation of being a slot-only receiver, and that was really on Ohio State because that's really all that they used him as. They used him in the slot. So the impression was this guy really didn't have the ability to play on the outside. And in Mobile, he just completely turned that on its head. The guy was phenomenal in one-on-ones. He showed he had a complete route tree. He was very smooth and crisp in his routes. He was very good at getting off the line of scrimmage, which is kind of the biggest concern when it comes to can you play on the outside. Now, he's not the fastest receiver, but like I said, he's very quick, handled press coverage very well at the Senior Bowl in those one-on-ones. And then Jawan Jennings out of Tennessee. The guy, he suffers from the similar concerns I have with Justin Jefferson, and I kind of mentioned him when it came to KJ Hill. He's not great at getting off the line of scrimmage when on the outside. And he might be a slot-only guy early in his career. Like I talked about with KJ Hill, we didn't know if he could play on the outside because we didn't really see him in that press man coverage. Well, we did with Jennings, and he kind of struggled in that aspect. But when the ball is in this guy's hands, he is a playmaker. He's great at making tacklers miss. He led college football this season in broken tackles from the receiver position. Like I said, dude's just very good after the catch. KJ Hamler coming in at number 12 out of Penn State. Kind of weird prospect because there's a lot that could turn you off about him, like his size, his drops. Those are kind of big red flags. He's only 5'9", 176 pounds, and last season he dropped 40% of his catchable targets, which you kind of like, if you're in that 10% area, that's kind of like, that's kind of dangerous. Dude was at 40%, so that's a huge red flag. But where this guy wins is with the ball in his hands. He's got ridiculous speed, ridiculous athleticism. I mean, at any given moment, this guy can take it to the house if you get the ball in his hands. That's the thing. You have to get the ball in his hands. He's very explosive, and he's a guy that I struggle putting on this list because there's a lot to like about him. But like I said, man, size and hands, those are kind of two big things that scare me. And then Tyler Johnson out of Minnesota here at 11, a guy I love him. I love him. He's kind of the black sheep in this receiving class. I mean, he was top 10 in yards per route. He can line up on the outside, inside, no problem. Smooth route runner, has a beautiful release. Drops though are the concern here, but I don't think it's the death nail because I think they're more. I think if he focuses more at the catch point, then he could kind of eliminate those because it's not like he's consistently dropping the ball. It's like he'll go through 3 or 4 games where it's like, okay, 0 drops, 1 drop, 0 drops. And then he'll have one game where he drops like 3 to 4 balls. And it's kind of maddening. So I don't think there's a problem with his hands. It's just a little more focus, a little more concentration on those catches. He'll be at the combine. I think if this guy can run a 4.5, I think he'll be back in the top 10 for me. Speaking of the top 10, let's go to the top 10. Michael Pittman Jr. out of USC here at number 10. Very physical receiver and a much better separator than you'd expect from a guy his size. He's great at the contested catch, and he's going to win underneath. He's going to win on intermediate routes. He came down with 70% of his targets. Not his catchable targets, his actual targets. So that includes balls that simply were thrown poorly. I like it. He's very consistent, very reliable. He's a phenomenal blocker as well. And he reminds me a bit of Terry McLaurin. I think that would be my comp for him. Then Denzel Mims here out of Baylor at number 9. What we knew about Mims before the Senior Bowl was his ability to win downfield with speed and his ability to win the contested catch. I mean, you could just go to that bowl game against Georgia where he had to fight through borderline pass interference, because we know how Georgia corners are taught to play. They're taught to basically be extremely physical and basically pass interference. That's why DeAndre Baker struggled so much early on in the NFL. Now, at the Senior Bowl, this guy displayed a much more expanded route tree than a lot of us expected, and that's why I have him here at 9. I really liked what I saw. For me, he was always going to be a day 2 pick, but now I think he's kind of that early to mid second rounder. And then Justin Jefferson at LSU here at 9, or here at 8, excuse me. Fact of the matter with Jefferson is I don't think he can play on the outside. He played almost exclusively in the slot last season. Back in 2018, he played on the outside. While he wasn't bad by any means, it wasn't great. Where he wins, I think where he will win in the NFL is in the slot on off coverage. I don't think this guy can handle press man at the line. But like I said, he's got really good size. He's very good at finding holes in the zone. He's very good at coming down with contested catches. I think teams that favor bigger slot receivers, especially with great ball skills, because you gotta love Jefferson's ball skills, I think they're gonna love Jefferson. Brandon Ayuk at number 7 out of Arizona State. The dude's just absurd after the catch. He's got big play, home run threat ability. He has a huge catch radius. The guy has an 81-inch wingspan. Wild. It's ridiculous. And you know what? He's a much better prospect than N'Keal Harry, who came out of Arizona State last year and was a first-round pick. I'm just saying that. I'm just going to put that on there. Now, I've seen some criticize, oh, he's a one-year wonder, but back in 2018, that Arizona offense was kind of tailor-made to feed N'Keal Harry the ball. Like, his targets were ridiculous back in 2018. I don't think that really hurts his stock. I don't think that's a red flag for me. And you know what? You know what really helps this dude's stock? I love that 90% of the time he lined up on the outside. So he was facing that press man coverage at the line, and he was winning. Just saying. Laviska Shenault Jr. at number 6 out of Colorado. A guy that's I've found very hard to put where to put him on this list, because you're not going to find a better athlete than him, especially at 6'2", 220. He runs with sub 4.4 speed. The guy, he's great after the catch. He had the most broken tackles of any receiver over the past 2 seasons. He's built like a running back. But what really hurts him is his lack of experience on the outside. He also has a bit of an injury history over the last 2 seasons. So he's a great prospect. Just a few question marks compared to the top 5. And then Henry Ruggs out of Alabama coming in here at number 5. Potentially the fastest receiver in this draft, but he's also a very good route runner. He's not a one-trick pony. I'm just saying, he's not a one-trick pony. However, though, his lack of big-time production at Alabama is a bit worrisome, but you kind of give him the benefit of the doubt because just the amount of playmakers that they had there, not everybody was going to get fed the ball, you know? So I don't think that's a knock on him per se. And then at 4, I got Jalen Reagor out of TCU, which might be a hot take. Now, there's plenty of knocks on Reagor. Some will question his ability at the contested catch, especially for his size. He's got a smaller catch radius than Ruggs. But you know what? No one's a better separator than Ruggs in this draft. This guy, he didn't struggle. He was hurt by bad, awful quarterback play there at TCU. I mean, the number of times that he was just outright missed on routes is kind of ridiculous. My case for Rager over Ruggs is if you put Rager there in Ruggs' role at Alabama, I think his production would be far greater than Ruggs. But like I said, these two guys, I don't think you really can mess up with either of these picks. And then T. Higgins out of Clemson coming in at number 3. Now, the guy has prototypical X receiver size at being 6'4", 215. He also brings good speed to combine with that size. He outshined future first rounder Justin Ross last season, his teammate if you didn't know. What I love most is his ability to break tackles at the catch point. The guy literally was shoving off contact as he was catching the ball. I really like that. He actually really has some downfield big play potential as well. I think he's kind of the total package here, and that's the reason I've elevated him to number 3 in my rankings. And then, I mean, y'all know who the top 2 are going to be. CeeDee Lamb here at number 2. Essentially, he's 1B. He just screams big play potential, whether it's off a screen, down the field. He kind of ticks all the boxes you want to see from a number 1 outside receiver in terms of how he plays. He's very successful at contested catches. Like I said, great after the catch. He's very good at using his body to create bigger windows for his quarterback. Overall, I think he's just he's a can't miss prospect as far as if you get him, he's not going to be a bust. And then Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama here at number 1. Like I said, maybe 1A. Now, Lamb, he is the more complete receiver. But Jeudy, the dude's extremely fast. He's got really good straight line speed. I think he's a far better, I don't want to say far better route runner, because I just think he's that good of a route runner compared to really anybody in this class. He doesn't have the production on the outside of a CeeDee Lamb, but I don't think I don't think that doesn't mean he can't produce on the outside. I think it's more so when you look at Alabama, they were really good at getting the ball to their playmakers and getting the ball early. I mean, you look at Tua, over, I think it was like 62 or 63% of his yards came after the catch. So his receivers were doing all the work. So Alabama, they really tried to get the ball early to their playmakers. So that's not really a knock on Jerry Jeudy. That's more so, hey, this guy's play after the catch or yards after the catch is ridiculous. But that's it for the list. Go ahead, let me know what you think in the comment section below. But as always, you be easy, my friends. Later.